This is your weekend market review for Friday, December 22nd, 2023. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your weekend market review for Friday, December 22nd, 2023. Hopefully you had a great week. As we thought and talked about early in the week that the market was pivoting, the highs were in based on the candle formations and the action that we're seeing. We saw the most overbought market I've seen in the history of trading in my lifetime. And guess what? Well, it's starting to get sloppy, choppy. A lot of people expect B tops, B bottoms. Nope, sometimes you get double tops, retest, chops, chop tops, traps, all sorts of fun stuff. But we think the top is in near term. However, no matter what, define your risk, have stops, be careful. If you're new to the channel, check out the Discord room, link in the description below. Also, check out thetradingagent.com, updating it. We're up to 5.5%, y'all. Get it from Marcus. Well worth it. Get your FDIC protection under 250. Also, check out the Back to Basics series, education series. Well worth it. Please, for the love of God, interactive brokers, get out of Schwab. Do not stick around to some of these brokerages that I don't think are going to survive. New to the channel, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Appreciate it. Again, the Back to Education videos, there's 52 of them. If there's something you want a video on, you let me know. Also, plenty of real estate content as a agent. Love to help out folks. Do not be shy, scared to reach out. Let me know how I can help. Also, follow on Twitter, posting the stuff that we see. That is incredibly important. However, again, the market isn't necessarily easy to time. So if you're anticipating things to happen always right away, right now, market's got you. All right, Fed ops. We talked about this has been rising slowly up, cut in January. But there's definitely now basically guaranteed one in March. Why? Is the economy strong? I don't think so. For some reason, I can't get freaking this thing to change. But Bitcoin, we know it's holding around 44,000. It's got to break out. Again, I personally don't trust any digital currencies, gold, anything to break out if the market has what I consider a violent pullback. And the pullback being that it's just a liquidity drain. Everything sold. Throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's hard to expect anything to hold up, especially like, say, oil, which, again, we think the 60s is a good floor, but do not be surprised if we trap below it. And also, too, I've said this, which feels like 100,000 times. Natural gas is stuck. But I think these floors are good as gold. I don't know how much lower they can go. God, it'd be really nice if I could just change that. Let's see if I can change it here with Bitcoin. Nope, not allowing it. All right, whatever, moving right along. You guys know Bitcoin's chopping along the recent highs. Dollar, ex-div, big div, bringing it back down. Again, I mean, equivalent is probably at the 200-day if you didn't have the big ex-dividend, because it had a big, juicy 1.74%, $1.75 basically. And so at this point, again, dollars topping bottom. I don't know. China's an absolute mess. The rest of the world's a mess. Be careful out there. Bonds, we talked about it potentially topping here near term. This thing's priced in 6 rate cuts. Keep an eye on this level. The levels matter. The VIX, we talked about waking up, compressing as much as it could under the 20-day. All right, just give it time. VIXIN, another one. Chopping, holding the 20-day. VIVIX. Said this was showing you signs of life, right? And there it is. There it is, waking up off of the base. So just be careful. SPY, it's hard to tell exactly where, the top is, but we've talked, if you go in the past, there's chop tops, double tops. I mean, I do this every video. You have chop tops, you got double tops. Here, this is all the kind of stuff. People always expect V tops. I'm like, don't do that. Here's your double top. Here's a chop top. Here's a V top. Here's a V and then a slightly lower high. Chop top, double top. I mean, just again, I don't know how deep the market is, but this is one of the steepest angles of ascent I've ever seen in my life. And so is that sustainable? I don't know. Now you have big volume at the highs. Looks like distribution. Keep an eye on it. So on that note, Invesco, QQQQ, chopping at the old highs. IWM trying to break out. Is this a novice gap trap or a breakout? It's up against some massive resistance. Ten cuidado, be careful. Dia, this thing has been leading up. Now it's starting to lag. Be careful. I mean, obviously you saw Nike Pretty sure if I remember correctly, they're part of the Dow. That hurt today. That hurt. So we'll talk about Nike here in a little bit. Gold, again, every time it feels like it's about to break out, comes right back. Again, that's not a candle you want to see. Silver, again, not confirming this. Not confirming. Opens high, closes lows, engulfs the last 2 days, essentially. GDX holding up, but again, these things should be way higher. Retesting another range high. We'll see what happens. Again, you would think if gold's breaking out the 52-week highs, GDX would be 25% higher. People say, oh, it's undervalued. Well, maybe we'll see it is. GDXJ, same thing. Maybe these are undervalued and about to rip. I don't know. Seasonally, it does make sense, but it feels like this is one of those years where things that make sense won't make sense near term. So, again, if you studied the 70s, you had a lot of craziness. So, AG, again, looks like it wants to break out, but giving it back. AEM, chopping up here. I mean, got to give them credit for trying to break out. We'll see if they can follow through. Newmont getting over the 200-day, even though the candle's red. I don't care too much about it, but it is over it. Keep an eye on this stuff. PAAS, same thing. Like, you don't want to see that on a breakout. But if this is a fake, like, kind of action, I'm trying to think of, not like fake action, but a trap for bears, I mean, that would be impressive if this thing continued higher, because that candle in itself would usually get most people to puke. All right, let's get into tech, because this is what's interesting. Taiwan Semi, again, China's basically telling Biden, we are going to reunify Taiwan. Back up in this 100+ area. Keep an eye on it. Micron, their earnings were absolutely, to me, garbage. But guess what? Doesn't matter what I think. Keep an eye on it. Back-to-back kind of like doji indecision days with big volume at the highs. Now, again, 3-day rule might be in effect where it just chops up there for 3 days. AMD chopping around. NVIDIA, it's kind of interesting. Nancy Pelosi announced the 2020, she disclosed she bought the 120 strike calls. I feel like there's something missing here, because why in the fudge would you buy the 120 calls when it's at 488? Something doesn't make sense. I wonder if she sold calls that deep. That would be absolutely nuts. I don't know how to interpret it. Intel, got to give it credit for holding up. Maybe we are going to be doing deals with China. Give it credit. I mean, if you have to stop out, you have to stop out. That's why I tell people, like, don't worry about it. There's always another trade. There's always something else out there. SMH chopping around. Adobe, we talked about it, rallying the 20-day off its earnings drop. Notice the new theme with earnings. Like, stocks are getting dragged. Whew. Apple, we have this one short from the highs. Watching this one double top, 20-day breaks. Goodbye. Amazon, interesting action, broke out, but then chopping up here. So it's tough to say. If you go zoom out, like, there's some gap fills. Apologize, I don't have the... it didn't save. There was one of them. Is there another one around here? I can't remember. Anyway, maybe not. Maybe I was just dreaming about the past. But either way, it's holding up. So if you want to short it, define your, like, stops very tight. Like, again, like CRM. If you want to short this, tight stops. If you get popped out, you get popped out. People go, why don't you go long? It's like, you really want to go long? Google retesting the highs. Meta, I mean, Zucker is literally selling hundreds of millions of dollars worth of shares, and nobody's ignoring it, and everyone's ignoring it. And the last time he went this big, do you guys remember when he sold a ton of shares? I do. It was up here in 2021. So he's dumping again. Somebody knows something. The nose knows. Keep an eye on this. Microsoft, it's been chopping around the 20-day, stuck. We'll see. NDAQ, man, if you got to stop out, you got to stop out. But watching this area, again, I mean, could it get up to 57s again? I like the short. I don't care. MicroStrategy, I mean, with a tight stop, obviously, I care. But, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go crazy on it. MicroStrategy broke out today on a Friday, above average volume. Hoo-hoo. Woo-hoo. Somebody knows it. Well, is it a breakout or a trap? It's so hard with these late holiday weeks. I don't know. I'd draw I mean, this is a very steep angle to send, so be careful. Netflix, we talked about 500 flop. I'm amazed that it's even over 480s. Keep an eye on it. Roblox, been holding up pretty well. I mean, this is the time of the year. Nice big green candle, fill some gaps. I mean, it's an interesting spot here. I mean, will we break out? I don't know about them. Apples, we'll see. Tesla, chop again. The market's holding up, but it's like everybody thinks it's going to go. I don't know. Watch the 250s. I mean, if you zoom out, we talked about this trend line. I mean, it's a major area of importance, but this is the hardest thing about sometimes the games that they play. at inflection points. It gets everybody, I mean, everyone sees it, so they get excited. Airbnb, this is one I'm short from the 147 plus, looking good. Costco, this one stopped me out and ripped higher. Again, it feels like this is the blow off top. They have a ex-div next week. They're going to pay a $15 special dividend. I mean, it basically rose way more than $15 above over its earnings. So I wouldn't be surprised if it maybe doesn't hold. Starbucks chopping at the lows. This thing looks like a dog, right? Dog. Roof, 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 roof. Nike had earnings. I mean, this is not good. I can't remember the last time Nike had like a 10% down day on a gap on earnings. Somebody knows something. I mean, someone's running for the hills. FedEx, same kind of thing. Everybody said the best trade of the week was buying FedEx after their drop in earnings. Okay, we'll see. Caterpillar, this one ripped back to levels I did not think, but here you go. This feels like a topping candle. Now you could get a chop out. Nucor chopping up against reference highs. Keep an eye on it. Letter X, again, I've said don't short a takeout target. But however, if the deal doesn't go through, the downside doesn't seem to be that much because I think there's more suitors. So somewhere in the mid 40s would probably you'd probably hold. VALE retesting, filling the gaps. Arrow, we talked about copper being oversold, rebounding. Watch this area. CCJ, this one's been a leader, starting to lag. Oh, man, that's not a pretty candle today. Keep an eye on it. CF, we like ag. I know some people are talking about buyout targets. We'll see what happens here. We'll see out here. I mean, because again, I think all ag becomes at buyout targets in time. Some of these names have some. I mean, if the population growth continues, I mean, it's one of those things. They get underinvested, then overinvested, and underinvested. Again, these things in relatively long-term thinking market caps, I think they're cheap. We talked about buying them in time. I prefer after the market swells. I mean, the VIX swells and the market dumps. NTR, same thing. AA Aeron, impressive. It's up today again. Friday, chop and stretch. Maybe we'll see. XLF again. This is a mind boggler that they would run this up. I mean, banks have the biggest risk. Biggest issues potentially. Look at that. Chop. 3 times as a charm. Keep an eye on that. JP Mo, I think they're going to have some struggles here. Morgan Stanley, again, these are all really good reference spots to short. Like, again, don't bring a ruler. Be careful. Know your levels, but I think they look good. Goldman, same thing. They all look good. KRE, they all look good up here. 53, look back to the left. I mean, this area right here, come on, huge volume. Candles, days, and references. So, XBI, we talked about this being all over the place. People are like, oh, I shorted at the lows. I'm like, don't short at the lows. This thing's been a big chop zone. I mean, it's due to play games. Again, markets over the holidays, light volume can be exacerbated near term. Remember that. Remember, they love to trap people. They get people to do a lot of dumb, silly things like chase, right? They love getting people to chase. Tan, we talked about solar being oversold, looking for a bounce. When you zoom out, maybe back to the 56 area. I don't know. I mean, some of these names have been absolutely slammed. We talked about shorting them. They looked like amazing. I just don't know how high. I mean, you would think you would like to see them rise before getting caught in some in-between spots. I mean, ENPH, I really love to see this up at the 200-day. All right, First Solar, we talked about this being a dog, but chopping around now that it's bouncing. This is what's so hard about this name. If the market holds up, it'll chop around, but you clearly have a reference point. It's just you don't know exactly where the price is that it's going to flop. HYG, same kind of thing. Like, I'm amazed anyone has any desire to buy corporate debt going into a massive recession potentially. Yikes. All right, oil, gas, let's end it there. We like oil long term, but we expect it to chop and slop around because, again, demand destruction and the recession potential. I mean, demand destruction, it's priced in. I just don't think, I don't know how low it's going to go, but I don't want to be early because I feel like what you're going to see is a lot of just sideways action. Same thing with like UNG. I think if anything, we talked about and identified a pretty, what I would think, great trade, shorting KOLD around the 110 to plus area. So far, so good. ExxonMobil, again, these names like bounced after breaking range lows. I don't trust them. XOP, same thing, like just bouncing because it's holding up because of the market, but I think these names will get smoked out. Your favorite Occidental. I mean, Buffett's buying as much as he can, but he doesn't care. Sell covered calls. He'll love to see it sell between this range. If he's selling covered calls and collecting $10 a share every time, he doesn't give a shiznit. Keep that in mind. Valero, Like the shorts up in here at the reference ranges. I mean, I really thought we wouldn't be able to get over 128, but clearly we did. And look, the next reference at another fib. Making sense. Let's see. MPC, we talked about this one hitting the 150s. Backing off now. Choppy. Not easy. EQT, choppy. Right? Just, I don't know. Again, all these names, I love them long term, but I want them to come down. I'd rather get some real good discounts when the market pukes and people throw everything out like they always do, and they freak the fudge out and they go crazy. All right, if you have any questions, please reach out. Use the Calendly link. Appreciate all the love, support, the generous donations. Don't hesitate to reach out. And if I don't talk to you, happy holidays. Love you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.